Greetings and welcome. My name is Jake Rayson. I am a forest gardener and forest garden designer, and well, this is my weekly Wednesday 10 AM British summertime lockdown live stream, and today I wanted to show you some of my favourite plants. This isn't going to be the prettiest of tours because it really is about the plants. I just wanted to actually show you what they look like and where I've planted them. I've got a big old list here, so I've got to rush through them. Now, if there is anyone on chat, could you just let me know if you're on chat? I'm not sure if the chat works on the mobile, so if you can, I need to set up a timer for 35 minutes because I need to get back in. Oh, hi, Pam, can somebody time me for 35 minutes so that I'm back on Zoom? So just 35 minutes from now. I lost my watch this morning, so I don't have any. Hi, oh, Pam's there, and Chris is there as well. Hi everybody. So can someone just let me know 35 minutes from now? So at 10:35, and then it'll give me a chance to get back inside and start the Zoom meeting at 10:40. If anyone's coming to that as well. Okay. So first of all. I wanted to. How am I going to do this? Do I have access? No, I haven't got access. Oh, I'm going to have to wing it. I wanted to talk about windbreaks and then trees, and then a couple of shrubs, and then some herbaceous perennials, and then some ground cover. All this. Oh, thank you, Pam. Pam's got a timer set. So. All of these things there will be notes for them as well, but I just found it really useful. A few years ago, I went to see Martin Crawford at his site on down in Devon. I really recommend going, and it's great to actually see the plants, and then you get a sense of what they're like and how big they grow. And this really is, I think, so useful to see what other people are doing and what the actual plants are. There's a couple of resources that are very useful as well. The most important one is Plants for a Future website. I'll put a link in the notes, and the other one is the RHS Plant Finder as well. Okay, and then and also the database of insects and their food plants. Right then, so this is a ridiculously dry day. We've had about I think 3 days of rain in 2 months, and it's crazy dry, and yeah. We've got kind of 3 forest gardens here. We're very lucky to have the space to experiment. This is the ornamental forest garden, and then over beyond those oak trees is the original forest garden, which is a bit more developed. So this is only planted last not winter just gone, the winter before, the winter of 2018-19. And I really would recommend, I mean, if anyone's got, it depends on the size of your forest garden, but if you've got a bit of space, I really say leave it as grass, leave it to, get rid of bramble and nettles. Well, nettles not so much of a problem, but bramble's a bit of a problem because it's so hard to get rid of, and get rid of docks as well. Docks are a pain in the bum because they're so hard to get rid of, but everything else, just leave it to grass and leave it to natural plants. And this is all like red campion and hogweed and plantain. That's absolutely fine, and then only remove the grass when you're ready to plant out the ground cover. So yeah, anyway, let's get a move on. Windbreaks, Guelder Rose. So I want to talk about windbreaks. Windbreaks really important in any forest garden, particularly more exposed sites like this one. So this is a kind of top priority, is choosing windbreaks. As I always say, if you can choose native plants, choose native plants. Not to say don't use non-natives, just saying if you've got an option, include them and incorporate them, because they support more wildlife than non-native plants. And here, it's a bit it's not exactly a show garden, that's for sure. This is a windbreak on the north side of the ornamental forest garden, and there's 2 strips of 2 metre wide sheet mulch, and this autumn I will be planting this side with ground ivy and then leave the other side, because there's bramble creeping in from the other side, and then gradually plant up with ground cover. And in the middle of the sheets there's a windbreak. If you can afford it, it's always a good idea to plant a double width windbreak if you possibly can, because you get much more protection for it, particularly if you've got deciduous windbreak. So this is a Guelder Rose, which is a viburnum opulus, one of my favourite plants. Grows about 5 metres, 4 or 5 metres tall, 4 metres wide. Very easy to propagate as well. Cheap plant to get, bare root. Beautiful white flowers, open white flowers, which have just gone over. And it's a native. It's lovely. It's a really good plant. So what I've done is to plant a mixed hedge, and this is always a good idea because it gives you a bit of resilience, that if one species doesn't make it, then the other species can fill in the gaps, quite literally. So that's a Guelder Rose, viburnum opulus, which is a brilliant plant. There is a non-native North American viburnum trilobum, which I do have one down there. It looks very similar, but apparently the berries are more edible than Guelder Rose. Guelder Rose berries apparently are edible, but are very sour, not particularly edible, whereas viburnum trilobum is more edible. So I've got one of those, and they're so easy to propagate. This is where I've taken cuttings. You can see this year's growth. So do propagate them. Next up is a non-native Elaeagnus umbellata. I'm talking about the UK here for our non-UK viewers. This is Elaeagnus umbellata autumn olive. This flowers earlier on. Looking a bit poorly, this one, but it's a stunning plant. It's, if I can see it's got this kind of shiny bark on there, and the slightly speckled leaves as well. And this grows to 5 metres high by 5 metres wide. It is invasive in parts of North America, so yeah, do be careful. But it's great because it's a nitrogen fixer. It's got lots of it's edible berries. They're about that big. They make a good jam, and it is a windbreak plant. So really useful. Like lots of different things that you can do with it. So that's a good one. If you can, again, propagate it. Get a specimen one, like a name variety. And if you're getting a name variety, this means that it will be fruiting. So this is a non-named variety. This is from Future Forests in Ireland. They do some really good plants. A lot of these hedging plants are from there. But if you can get a fruiting variety, and then when you plant a hedge with it, you'll get a windbreak hedge. You'll get a good crop as well. Yep. So propagate it if you've got the time and the space, and then use that for your windbreaks, and you get a double whammy, protection and a crop. This is Juneberry, so called because Amelanchier canadensis. Amelanchier is actually really okay, so I'll do the questions as I go along actually. So how would you propagate them? There's basically hardwood cuttings for Guelder Rose, hardwood cuttings for autumn olive, and hardwood cuttings for Juneberry as well. Various kind of, you can look up how to do hardwood cuttings. Basically, you cut them, you cut a bit of hardwood, and you stick it in a bit of compost, free draining compost, and then you keep an eye on it, keep it kind of sheltered. No need to heat it or anything. It's quite straightforward. And then, yeah, you get a good Guelder Rose and Juneberry. Have I tried Juneberry? Probably haven't actually, but yeah, they're kind of pretty easy method of propagation. I have had a few problems actually propagating the autumn olive. I'm not like a genius propagator or anything, so I'm going to give that another go this year. But yeah, look, there'll be lots of reference online, and I do have a I have actually got some notes that I'll post too. Cutting sticks in the ground. Yeah, and actually that's a good point. If you haven't got the space or the time to do propagation, what you can do, this is what I've done here, is I've just cut a hole in the sheet mulch, and I've put in, this is an autumn olive, and I've just put it in the ground. All of these are deciduous, so cutting sticks in the ground is a quick way. If they don't take, they don't take. If they do take, it's an easy way, and you've got some propagated plants. On to the next question: are they deciduous? Yep, all these are deciduous. The viburnum and the autumn olive and the Juneberry are all deciduous. There is an evergreen Elaeagnus exabingii, which is slower growing, more expensive because you can't buy it bare root, but they're a very nice plant as well. So definitely have a look at them. And again, you can take cuttings from them easily. The bare root plants cost about £1 per plant. These have doubled in size in a year. They're just incredible, really good plants. Whereas if you're paying for an evergreen, they're in a pot and they cost about £5 per plant. So you get an idea, like 4 or 5 times the price. Yep, so on to, where am I now? Okay, on to the next one. That's the Juneberry. I was going to show you, Juneberry. Amelanchias are a really interesting kind of group of plants because you get some really good fruiting ones as well. Oh, whilst I'm here, I might as well. Can't really, let's see it. This is these are some cuttings that I just whacked in the ground. This is red dogwood, looking a bit sorry for itself. Cornus like moist soil, and bless them, they are having a bit of a hard time with this drought that we're having. But this is the red dogwood is brilliant hedge and windbreak plant because they're so easy to propagate. They're like willow. You stick them in, quite literally stick them in some moist ground, and they will grow. And they're really flexible. They're really they grow to about 2-3 meters tall, 3 meters wide, and they're really easy to manage. They don't have any thorns on them, and they're super easy to kind of cut back, and they sprout back readily once they're established. So red dogwood, Cornus sericea, I think it is. There is a native dogwood. See, I need to investigate this more. There's a native dogwood called Cornus sanguinea. Cornus sericea is this one, and then there's a Cornus sanguinea. I must investigate. So yeah, Cornus dogwood, really good hedging plant. There's a yellow one as well, so if you want a bit of variety, and they're great. They're really easy to grow and easy to handle. So I like them a lot. So I'm just going to go down here. So you can see now autumn olive. So these are going to grow. That tall in a couple of years' time. In a few years' time, 3-4 years. Oh look, and I'll just show you the viburnum opulus. There we go. Lovely flower, lovely berries as well. Really good plant. I've got some dock in there. That's not a windbreak plant. And here are the Juneberries. So these are the ones. Oh, I can't really see them. These are the ones which are edible. If you get a named variety, you can eat. They're a bit tasteless on the non-named varieties. And then I wanted to show you. Do I have any? I can't load it. Here we go. This is sea buckthorn. Invasive. You've got to be careful if you're not in the UK, and even if you are in the UK, it will spread it will sucker. So do watch out. But here we go. This is sea buckthorn. Nitrogen fixing, one of our few native nitrogen fixing windbreaks. You've got alders, which are nitrogen fixing as well. Sea buckthorn. If you can get a named variety, you need a male and female, like one male and a few female. But make sure that you get a female named variety, and then you will have a fruiting windbreak. So definitely worth growing. About 4 meters tall, 4 or 5 meters tall. The best way to, I haven't had any, well, I think the birds got to them before I did last year. The way to harvest them is to take off the whole branch and then freeze it and then bash the berries off. But you can use it in fruit drinks and do all sorts with it. Very high in antioxidants. So very interesting plant. Bloody great big spines on it. So quite a good deterrent as well. If you need a thick hedge to keep people out. I've grown it really well here. I was quite surprised because it has been so wet. I thought it wouldn't like it so much, but it's been absolutely fine. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, I haven't been out here for a while. I may need a little love and attention. This is what kind of happens. Oh dear. I think that this is berberis. Not really edible. Yeah. This is a bit poor for itself. This is a prickly berberis Darwinii. Again from Future Forests. It's suffering a bit. I think it's just the lack of moisture. I need to kind of come and rescue it. But this is a really good plant. This is a really good Barbary to grow. Edible berries and evergreen. So a good evergreen windbreak, about 3-4 meters tall, because we're going to have a clay-lined pond eventually when we get the funds for it, when we get the money for it. There'll be a evergreen hedge at the back here, so you're not getting leaves going straight into the pond. Right then, that's pretty. And then yeah, last one is Japanese rose, but that's all the way up here. So I'll go back up this way. So Guelder Rose, sea buckthorn, and Dogwood are my top kind of native ones, and then a Juneberry, which is North American, an autumn olive, which I think is Chinese, are my fave non-native ones. So a good old mix and combination. Oops, oh, big old thistle. Yeah, I haven't been in here for a while. And then over here, dog rose, the Japanese rose, Rosa rugosa. Now really good because they are they're beautiful, and they have a nice scent. You can't really smell it. It smells beautiful. But not so. Yeah, they're kind of good. They are good, but they flop, and they're prickly. So they're a bit of they're okay. They're a bit of a pain in the bum. You can see how prickly they are. But they do kind of mound up eventually. These took a little while because they're exposed to the west. Whoopsie. Just walked into a bit of hedge there. Because they're exposed to the west, so these have taken a bit of a while to get established. Whereas the plants down, the Rosa rugosa down here, have kind of done much better. They're like 2 meters tall. They're kind of double the size, so a bit of protection for them. But they are beautiful though as well, and they have big hips on them. So the hips they swell right up, and you can make all the things you make out of rose hips. And then there's a native dog rose, I think. I'm kind of surprised. We've got about something crazy. We've got a load of native roses. I didn't realise how many we had. But that's a topic for another live stream. So, sweet chestnut. Oh, this got bashed by the frost that we had. So this is only planted last year, so it's about 1.5 meters tall, and it will fruit in about 3-4 years time. Start bearing nuts. Will grow to 15 to 20 meters tall, 12 meters wide, I think it is, 12 meters diameter, and a fantastic plant. And I've done some kind of looking into how many you need for how many sweet chestnuts will support how many people on 1 hectare, just in pure calorific terms. you can, I can't remember how many trees it is, but in 1 hectare it will support about 7 to 8 people. That's cropping at 60 kilograms per tree. There we go. Okay, so that's my first tree. I've got a question in here from 56. I'd considered planting hedge of just Rosa rugosa. As they flop, would you advise mixing with other types of hedging? Now, it depends on the situation, really. If they're a little bit protected, they tend not to flop so much. They do flop a bit. They do sucker as well. So they'll send out little runners and they'll sprout up all over the place. So it depends really on the situation. And if they're near a gate or then like an access point, that does tend to be a pain in the bum because you've got to keep on cutting them back. So what I've done is put dogwood on either side of a gate, and then Rosa rugosa on in the middle of the hedge. So yeah, it depends. Pam, does anything outcompete brambles? No. Pigs. Pigs outcompete brambles. Brambles are a pain in the bum. The best way to get rid of them is to dig them out. People there's some people using systemic herbicide. I don't think it'll work, to be honest, because the roots are the roots are so kind of well established. So yeah, sorry, you've got to dig them out, and I'll just do it section by section, year by year. Sorry about that. Okay, sweet chestnut. So yeah, sweet chestnut, absolutely fantastic tree. Does really, really well in West Wales. Some people on the Forest Garden UK Facebook group saying, oh, it won't crop in West Wales, but Bruce Slark, who's got a forest garden, really lovely bloke, has a forest garden up the road, and he's getting decent crops off them. So and other people are as well, I remember saying. So I'm now going to start including sweet chestnuts and nut-bearing trees in each of my forest gardens if there's room for them. If you don't have room, you probably have room for a hazel, and you will need to have more than one hazel. Always good to have a pollinating partner for sweet chestnuts. You do get some self-pollinating sweet chestnuts, but much better crops if you have a pollinating partner, one which they'll cross-pollinate. And there's one, I can't remember what it is, marron, can't remember. There's a particular sweet chestnut which is really good for cross-pollinating. There's a really good pollinating partner. I'll put that in the notes as well. And the same hazel. I don't know much about hazel. Originally we weren't going to have nuts because we've got lots of squirrels, but I'm actually determined to grow nuts now, particularly because we're kind of going vegan, and we haven't got we're getting short of getting hold of nut milk is a pain in the bum. Right then, so you can make nut milk from hazelnuts, which would be interesting. A little project to do. Now hazels are kind of I'd love to find out more. I've just invested in a couple of Martin Crawford's nut book, finally. So I really want to find more. If you are interested in kind of buying nut trees and finding out more, there's a chap, fruitandnut.ie. Can't remember the guy's name, Andy somebody I think. So really good source of information about them, and lots of different varieties. This one is Webb's Prize Cob. Okay. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so hazels, totally recommend them. I had a chat with an orchardist friend of mine, and he was saying that hazels, I've heard that you should have a single stem crops better, and he is saying, well, that he's heard differently, that multi-stemmed, and then you crop the you take out the 3 to 4 year old, or maybe older, 3 to 4 year old growth, and then the younger growth crops better. So that's something I really want to investigate. But definitely got to have hazels in your garden. Well, you don't have to if you don't like nuts. Oh yeah, there's not really enough time in the world, is there? There's bamboo, there's a crabapple. These are all kind of a bit scraggly because they are quite exposed. This is a viburnum trilobum that I mentioned earlier on, which has got better fruiting. I'm in the way. So you can see it looks like a viburnum. It looks like a Guelder Rose. Anyway, okay, another Hazel, and oh yep, here we go. This is my first ever. This is my first ever graft that I did last year. Grew it on in a pot and then planted it out over winter. And this is Poppit Persawrws, which is an apple found by Martin, my friend Martin, the orchardist, Martin Hayes, the orchardist, in Poppit, near Poppit Sands. Persawrws means, oh goodness me, Persawrws means aromatic. So it means aromatic poppet. So apparently the apples, I don't know if we're going to get any, no, not this year. The apples taste of, have a smell of bubble gum. So, yes, apple trees, brilliant, love it. And that's an Ashmead's kernel, my other graft that I did last year. Ah, lovely. And then there's a plum Excalibur, which is related to Victoria, but I think is later cropping. So it's a kind of, yeah, interesting plant. All right then, and then Poppit Persawrws, Cornus, right. Yeah, honourable mention to the New Zealand flax. Grows to about 2-3 metres. They seem to be a bit yellow, all of them. I'm not terribly sure why. You can you can make a windbreak hedge out of them, and you can cut the leaves and use them as string. So kind of handy to have around, and quite ornamental. That's a row of autumn olive. Don't know if you can see that down there. It's a windbreak, and then that's a viridis. Oh crikey! It's a bamboo. Green wax bamboo, but I'm not talking about bamboos today. I want to go and show you my favouriteest. I'll go this way. This is supposed to be, this is the beginnings of a willow den, but we got overtaken by the weather and time. So my most favourite plant sometimes, Hawthorn. This is Crataegus arnoldiana, North American, and massive, great haws in the autumn, like kind of proper fruit. So, and this is planted last winter and is now, hold on, that's 2.5 meters tall. So just incredible. I bought this from Martin Crawford, I think. Yeah. Just absolutely loves it here. Absolutely just thriving. So it's brilliant. Love that plant. And then I've got, on the kind of subject of Cornus, not only is a windbreak, there's a range of different Cornus. Cornus kousa and Cornus mass. And as you can see, oh dear, it's not very happy with the dry conditions. This is a Cornus mass, cornelian cherry. Not very happy. But it would be normally in West Wales. It'd be absolutely fine, but it's just struggling a bit because it was planted out last winter and it's just, yeah, it's having a bit of a hard time. And I've got a mulberry, and then I've got a Cornus kousa. Cornus kousa seems to be doing all right actually this year. I think it's more established. I think I might have planted that the year before. So Cornus kousa is good. Cornus kousa chinensis, and this is a lovely tree. Needs a bit of shelter, which is why it's down here, and it's beautiful flowers, properly ornamental. Quite a small tree. I think about 4 or 5 meters tall, can't remember. 10-minute warning. Thank you, Pam. Okay, I better get a move on. How hardy are New Zealand flax? They need to get established. They're hardy. I'm not sure how cold, what temperatures they go down to. But I think it's more a question of them getting established. I know that Martin Crawford's got a whole, I've seen it, he's got a whole hedgerow made up of New Zealand flax, and they're really, they're thriving there, but I think you've got to get them established. That's a mulberry, and it got hammered by the frosts. I think they're kind of really susceptible to the frosts. And then honourable mention to elderberry. This one is called Samnor from the Danish cultivar. This is a present from a neighbour. Elderberry. Oh, I just love elderberries. They're just brilliant. But anyway, let's get a move on. Okay, so now I'm going to go and show you some couple of shrubs and some herbaceous perennials. Oh, I better run. And on the way, I'm going to tick off a couple of ground cover. Now, my favourite ground cover, bugger, I just walked past it. My favourite ground cover is ground ivy, Glaucoma hedoracea, because it's a native and it grows really, really well. It grows naturally here anyway. It likes a bit of shade in the moist soil, but even so, this is a kind of patch that I've propagated. It goes a bit brown and it's not that happy. But the bees love it. It's really, really good. Beautiful little blue flowers. And it's a kind of good ground cover. It does scramble somewhat, so it will kind of scramble up fruit bushes, so you've got to be a bit careful of it. But it's easy to control and easy to keep under control and easy to weed. And good in combination with the strawberry, which I'll show you. Got a couple of different strawberries. Now, these are supposed to be propagation beds. They've gone a bit wild. And there's a pre-vegan chicken. This is a really good low ground cover. You can see it gets some stuff growing through it. This is a rubus. Oh crikey, Pentalobus, but it's I can't remember. It's got a proper name. Can't remember. It's Taiwanese Raspberry, and it forms kind of low mat. So it's quite a low mat of a low mat of evergreen leaves. So it's good for growing stuff through, like alliums. I'm going to experiment with this with alliums, just to be able to get it to so they don't absolutely swamp it. Some other stuff like ground ivy will kind of crawl up things. This is Dwarf Comfrey, Symphytum ibericum, which is good, kind of a bit taller, 30 centimetres. And then this is lesser periwinkle, Vinca minor. Again, once it gets established, it takes a while to get established. Once it does get established, it will kind of swamp stuff, and things will have a hard time growing through it. So where you plant your what ground cover you plant really depends on what your other plants are, which is why I think herbaceous perennials, you're better off with a more controllable, less fast growing ground covers. So let's go ground covers, so shall we? Or herbaceous perennials. Let's go herbaceous perennials first. 5 minutes, oh blimey. Okay, very, very quickly. Jerusalem artichoke. Did hate Jerusalem artichoke because they give me the wind, but now I found out that you can. Oh, what can you do? You can make sauerkraut out of them. So I've started growing them again. Turkish Rocket, absolutely bloody brilliant. Now I didn't realise, but you can eat the shoots on this. So the flower shoots before they come into flower. I'm going to grow seed from here, just like that. They taste delicious, better than purple sprouting broccoli, which is saying something. And you can cook with the leaves as well. So I'm going to grow a load of this. Herbaceous perennial, dies back in winter, grows back up. Member of the cabbage family. But yeah, I'm going to grow loads of that. Brilliant. And then I've got a sweet Cicely, which you can eat the leaves and the seeds, and it's good for pollinators as well, native. And then Meadowsweet, Filipendula almeria. You can use it in drinks and things, and also native, likes a damper spot really. And then this is my new perennial veg bed. There's celery there. I didn't have anywhere else to put them. Good King Henry, little plant going in. That's always a kind of good spinach replacement plant. Smallish leaves, but good. And then very quick mention to. This is a present from a chap on Facebook. Oh no, I paid postage for them or something, and he sent me a load of stuff. It was really kind of him. This is a American groundnut, Apios americana, and it's got big old tubers under there. They're supposed to be like that big if it grows well. And I'm growing it with French beans as well, and there's a temporary grapevine there. And then the other one is Mashua. To be honest, I can't remember what bit you eat of the Mashua, but I thought I'd give it a go, see how it kind of scrambles up, see how we go with it really. Okay, and then quickly, I can't show you Chinese bramble, it's in the other direction. I've talked about ground ivy. I'll very quickly show you Nepalese raspberry. So it's my carrots in a pot. This is ground ivy when it's looking healthier. It's a bit damper because I've been watering it. Beautiful plant. And then you can grow it in combination with strawberry. This is Fragaria viridis, green strawberry, and this is Fragaria chiloensis, beach strawberry. I found these leaves to be kind of bigger, but I don't think there's much in it, to be honest. But it kind of gives you a good ground cover. Mix them with the ground ivy. Obviously this is all UK centric. And then this is Rubus nepalensis, Nepalese raspberry. Really nice ground cover. Again, I would use this for areas where it's not so competitive really. And then there's some more Dwarf Comfrey, and that's what Periwinkle does, left to its own devices. Cool, there we go. And Taiwan. Oh, I've shown you Taiwanese raspberry and Ramsons. Ramsons and ground ivy is a good combination too. Right, just quickly show you Ramsons, Allium ursinum, just going over there, and then growing that with ground ivy. Yeah, cool, and some load of other weeds as well. Fantastic. Okay, see you back inside in a second. Shall I put my face on? I'll just get walking. So I hope that's useful.